The little store was quiet under the soft glow of a single bulb hanging above the counter, its light flickering like a tired firefly. It was late, almost closing time, and the shelves of candy and toys looked sleepy in the dimness. Outside, the small town of Maplewood was dark, with only the sound of crickets chirping in the cool night air. Behind the counter stood Grandma Ellie, a kind lady with gray hair counting coins in her little box. Next to her sat a big German shepherd named Max, his brown and black fur shining softly, but his eyes sharp like he was always watching for something. Max was a special dog. He used to work with the police catching bad guys, but now he lived with Grandma Ellie because he got hurt and couldn't work anymore. A long scar ran down his side, like a line drawn with a white crayon, showing he'd been in tough fights before. Suddenly the bell above the door jingled and a man walked in, his boots thumping loud on the wooden floor. He was tall, with a sneaky smile, like a fox who knows a secret. He wore a dark jacket and kept his hands in his pockets, looking around the store like he was hunting for something. Grandma Ellie smiled and said, "Hello, welcome to Ellie's Corner Store. Can I help you?" But the man just grinned wider, his smile making her feel a little funny, like something wasn't right. That's when Max stood up, his ears pointing straight, and let out a deep growl so loud it made the candy jars on the counter shake a little. His golden eyes locked on the man and his body got stiff like he was ready to jump. Grandma Ellie looked surprised and said, "Max, what's wrong, boy? He's just a customer." But Max didn't stop. He growled again, even louder, his teeth showing just a little, like he was saying, "I don't trust you." The man laughed, but his laugh sounded fake, and he took a step closer to the counter, his eyes darting to the little safe where Grandma Ellie kept her money. Why was Max growling so much? Did he know something about this man that Grandma Ellie didn't? The air in the store felt heavy, like a storm was coming, and you could tell something big was about to happen. Something that might change everything for Max, Grandma Ellie, and the sneaky man who thought he could fool everyone. Inside the little store, the air still felt heavy after Max's loud growl, and Grandma Ellie's eyes moved from the sneaky man to the door, hoping no more trouble would walk in. Just then, a girl with curly brown hair and a blue backpack came running through the door, her sneakers squeaking on the wooden floor. This was Lily, Grandma Ellie's 12-year-old granddaughter, who always came to help at the store after school. Lily's eyes were big and worried as she looked at Max, who was still growling at the man in the dark jacket. "Grandma, why's Max so mad?" Lily asked, her voice small but curious. Grandma Ellie shook her head and said, "I don't know, sweetie, but let's stay calm." The man smirked, his smile making Lily feel a little scared, and he said, "Nice dog you got there, kid," before walking to the back of the store, pretending to look at the candy. Lily knelt down next to Max and put her hand on his soft fur, feeling his body shake a little from growling. Max turned his head and licked her hand, his golden eyes softening for a moment like he was saying, "I'll keep you safe." That's when Lily remembered the first time she met Max 2 years ago, when she was feeling so sad she didn't want to talk to anyone. Lily's dad used to be a police officer, but he got hurt really bad while catching a bad guy and didn't come home one day. Lily missed him so much that her heart felt heavy all the time, like she was carrying a big rock inside her chest. She stopped smiling, stopped playing with her friends, and even stopped drawing pictures which she used to love. One day, Grandma Ellie brought Max to the store, saying he was a police dog who couldn't work anymore because he got hurt too. Max had a long scar on his side, just like Lily felt she had a scar on her heart. When Lily saw him, she sat on the floor, and Max walked over slowly, his big paws thumping softly. He looked at her with his big eyes like he understood how sad she was, and then he lay down next to her, putting his head in her lap. Lily felt a little less alone that day, and from then on, Max became her best friend, always staying close to make her feel safe. Now, in the store, Lily whispered to Max, "You're my hero, Max," and he wagged his tail just a little, even though he was still watching the sneaky man. Grandma Ellie was Lily's biggest helper. She loved Max too and always said he was the best guard dog ever. But the sneaky man, who Lily didn't know was a thief named Carl, was trouble. Carl had been coming to the store for weeks, looking at the little safe behind the counter where Grandma Ellie kept her money and special things. Lily didn't like how he smiled. It wasn't a nice smile, it was a tricky one, like he was planning something bad. Max seemed to know it too, because every time Carl came near, Max would stand up and watch him closely, like he was ready to protect Lily and Grandma Ellie no matter what. The big problem was starting to grow. Carl wanted to steal something very important from the safe, something that could hurt Lily's family even more, and Max was the only one who seemed to know how dangerous Carl really was. Lily felt a shiver run down her back as she held Max tighter, knowing that her best friend was the key to keeping them all safe from whatever Carl was planning. The little store felt smaller as the sneaky man, Carl, walked around, his boots making slow thumps on the wooden floor. Lily held Max close, her fingers digging into his soft fur, feeling his body shake a little from growling. Max's golden eyes never left Carl, watching every step he took, like a superhero keeping an eye on a bad guy. Grandma Ellie tried to stay calm, saying, "Lily, why don't you take Max to the back and get him some water?" But Lily didn't want to leave. She could tell something was wrong, and Max knew it too. Carl turned around with that tricky smile and said, "Nice dog you got there, kid, but he's a little loud, huh?" His voice sounded sweet, but his eyes looked mean, like he was hiding something. Then he walked closer to the counter, pretending to look at a jar of candy. But Lily saw him peek at the little safe behind Grandma Ellie, where she kept her money and special things. Max growled even louder, his ears pointing straight up, and he took a step forward, making Carl stop and laugh nervously. "Easy, big guy," Carl said, but his hand moved to his pocket, like he was checking something. That's when things got scarier. Carl came back to the store the next day, and this time he brought a small bag that he hid behind a shelf when he thought no one was looking. Lily saw him do it, and her heart started beating fast. She whispered to Max, "What's he doing, Max?" Max sniffed the air and started pulling Lily toward the shelf, his nose working hard like he was on a mission. When they got there, Lily found the bag and opened it. Inside was a map with a drawing of the store and a red circle around the safe. Carl was planning to steal something, and it looked like he was going to do it soon. Lily ran to tell Grandma Ellie, but Grandma said, "Oh, sweetie, maybe it's just a mistake, let's not worry." Lily felt frustrated because she knew it wasn't a mistake, but she didn't know how to make Grandma believe her. Then something surprising happened. Lily overheard Carl talking on his phone outside the store saying, "Yeah, I knew her dad, the cop who got in my way. I'll make sure they pay." Lily's eyes got big because her dad was a police officer who got hurt catching a bad guy, and now she thought Carl might be that bad guy. This made everything more dangerous. Carl wasn't just a thief. He wanted to hurt Lily and Grandma Ellie to get back at her dad. The trouble got even bigger when Carl came back that night after the store was supposed to be closed. Lily and Max were still there because Lily wanted to keep an eye on things. Carl didn't see them at first, but he started looking around the store, trying to find a way to the safe. Max growled softly, but Carl heard it and turned around fast, his face getting angry. "You again, you dumb dog," he said. And before Lily could stop him, Carl grabbed Max by the collar and pushed him into a small closet in the back of the store, locking the door. Max barked and scratched at the door, but he couldn't get out, and Lily felt her heart sink. She was so scared without Max by her side. Carl laughed and said, "Now let's see who stops me," and he started walking toward the safe. Lily hid behind a shelf, her hands shaking, but she knew she had to be brave like Max. She remembered how Max always protected her, and that gave her a little bit of courage. She tiptoed to the closet and tried to open the door, but it was stuck tight. Max kept barking, and his barks were so loud that a neighbor walking by heard them and got worried, calling the police to check on the store. That was a small win, but things were still scary. Carl tricked Grandma Ellie into leaving the store by saying there was a problem outside, and now Lily was all alone with a bad guy, and Max was locked away. Every moment felt bigger and scarier, but Lily knew she and Max needed each other more than ever, and she had to find a way to get him out before Carl could steal the special thing from the safe. The little store was dark now, with only the moonlight coming through the windows making shadows dance on the walls. Lily hid behind a shelf, her heart beating so fast it felt like a drum in her chest. She could hear Carl's boots thumping closer to the safe behind the counter, his sneaky laugh echoing in the quiet. "Finally, it's mine," Carl said to himself, pulling a small tool from his pocket to try and open the safe. Lily's hands shook as she looked at the closet where Max was locked, his barks getting louder and more desperate, like he knew something bad was happening. She whispered, "I'm coming, Max," and crawled to the closet door, her fingers pulling at the handle as hard as she could. The door was stuck tight, but Lily didn't give up. She pushed and pulled until her arms hurt, and finally, with a loud creak, the door popped open. Max burst out like a superhero, his big paws hitting the floor, and he ran straight to Lily, licking her face for just a second before turning to Carl. Max's growl was the loudest it had ever been, so deep it made the candy jars on the counter rattle, and he jumped in front of Lily, standing tall like a brave soldier. Carl turned around fast, his eyes wide with surprise, and he shouted, "You again? Stay back, you dumb dog!" But Max didn't listen. He took a big step forward, his teeth showing, his scar shining in the moonlight, and he barked so loud that Carl dropped his tool and stumbled back. Lily stood up, her legs shaky but her voice strong, and said, "Leave my grandma's store alone." Carl laughed, but it sounded scared this time, and he said, "You think a little girl and her dog can stop me? I've been waiting years for this." That's when the big secret came out. Carl pointed at Max and said, I know you, dog. You were with that cop who tried to catch me, the one who got in my way. Lily's eyes got big because she understood now. Max used to work with her. Dad and Carl was the bad guy who hurt him a long time ago. That's why Max was growling from the start. He remembered Carl's smell and knew he was trouble. Carl wanted to steal a special box from the safe because it had papers inside that could prove he did bad things, and he wanted to make sure no one ever found out. But he didn't know how brave Max was. Max jumped at Carl, his big body knocking the thief to the ground, and the safe's key fell out of Carl's hand, rolling across the floor. Carl tried to grab it, but Max was faster. He stood over Carl, growling right in his face, his golden eyes shining with a fire that said, "You're not going anywhere." Carl tried to push Max off, but Max wouldn't move. He stayed right there, protecting Lily in the store, even though Carl kept yelling and trying to scare him. Lily ran to the phone on the counter and called the police, her voice shaking but loud, saying, "Please come quick. There's a bad guy in my grandma's store." The police were already close because of the neighbor who heard Max barking earlier, and soon, red and blue lights flashed outside the store. 2 officers ran in, their boots loud on the floor, and they saw Max holding Carl down. "Good dog," one officer said, pulling Carl up and putting shiny handcuffs on him. Carl looked mad and said, "I would have gotten away if it wasn't for that dog." But Max just sat down next to Lily, his tail wagging a little like he knew he did something amazing. Lily hugged Max tight, her face pressed into his soft fur, and she whispered, "You saved us, Max. You're the best." Max licked her cheek, showing he'd never leave her side, and the police took Carl away. His sneaky smile gone for good. The store felt safe again, and Lily knew Max was a hero, just like her dad used to be. The little store felt warm and safe. Again, as the police cars drove away, their red and blue lights fading into the dark night, Lily sat on the floor behind the counter, her arms wrapped tight around Max, his soft fur tickling her cheek. Max's big head rested on her shoulder, his golden eyes half closed, like he was finally relaxing after being so brave. Grandma Ellie came running back into the store, her face full of worry. But when she saw Lily and Max together, she let out a big sigh and said, "Oh, my sweet girl, are you okay?" Lily nodded, her eyes shiny with tears, and said, "Max saved us, Grandma. He stopped the bad guy." Grandma Ellie knelt down and hugged them both, her hands shaking a little as she patted Max's head and said, "You're the best dog in the whole world, Max." Max wagged his tail, thumping it on the floor, and licked Grandma Ellie's hand like he was saying, "I love you too." The police had taken Carl away, and one of the officers told Grandma Ellie that the special box in the safe had papers that showed Carl did bad things a long time ago. Things that hurt Lily's dad when he was a police officer. That's why Carl wanted to steal it, so no one would ever know. But Max remembered Carl from back then, and he made sure the truth came out. Lily felt a big weight lift off her heart. She had always felt so sad about her dad, like a heavy rock was sitting on her chest, but now she felt lighter, like she could breathe again. Max helped her feel strong, just like her dad used to, and she knew her dad would be so proud of them both. The next day, the little town of Maplewood was buzzing with the story of what happened at Ellie's corner store. People came to visit, bringing treats for Max and flowers for Grandma Ellie, saying things like, "That dog is a real hero," and "You're so brave, Lily." The store felt happy again, with laughter and smiles filling the air instead of worry. Lily decided to do something special. She took a piece of shiny paper and some string from the store and made a little medal for Max. She wrote "Best Protector" on it with a marker and tied it around his neck. Max sat up tall, his scar shining in the sunlight coming through the window, and he looked so proud, like he knew he did something amazing. Grandma Ellie smiled and said, "He deserves that medal, Lily. He's our guardian angel." Lily felt happy too, but she also felt different, like she wasn't so scared anymore. Before all this happened, she used to feel lonely and afraid without her dad, but Max showed her how to be brave, and now she felt like she could do anything with him by her side. A few days later, as the sun was setting and the store was closing, Lily sat on the steps outside with Max, watching the sky turn orange and pink. She scratched behind his ears, his favorite spot, and said, "We're a team, Max, me and you, forever." Max looked up at her, his eyes soft and warm, and then he did something so sweet. He put his big paw on her hand, like he was saying, "I'll always be here for you." Lily smiled, her heart feeling full, and she knew that Max wasn't just a dog. He was her best friend, her hero, and the one who helped her find her smile again. The little store, once a place of worry, was now a place of love, all because of a brave dog and a girl who learned to be brave too.